Hi, welcome back to my channel, Everything Business by SIRISHA Varma. Today, we are going to talk about the mobile market here in India and the crisis that has been happening to the third biggest mobile operator here in India. Today, we are going to talk about Vodafone India. If you specifically look at the statistics of how many mobile phone subscribers are there in India, India has 1.18 billion phone subscribers. This is second only to China. With an eye-popping 765 million broadband subscribers, it is one of the largest consumers of data in the world. Fueled by cheap prices and wide availability, growth has been explosive in the Indian market. But in January 2022, Vodafone Idea, which is one of the oldest and the third largest players in the Indian market, has approved a state bailout to stave off an imminent collapse. The government of India is now likely to pick up a third, nearly 36% of the stake in the ailing operator, leaving the rest to its joint venture partners, British owned Vodafone Group of 28.5% and India's Aditya Birla conglomerate of 17.8%. Given the huge numbers of mobile phone subscribers here in India, what is happening with Vodafone India? Why did it have to approve a state owned bailout? If you specifically look at Vodafone India, it has been bleeding both cash and customers. A cash bleed of around, it has not even made a profit in the past 5 years, and customers of around 253 million have been lost since late last year. Last year, the company's chairman, Kumar Mangalam Birla, that is Vodafone Idea chairman, said the operator would shut shop if they were not granted relief from courts. Now, if you specifically look at the Indian market, there are mainly three private operators: Vodafone Idea, Reliance Jio, and Airtel. Together, all of these three operators hold about 90% of India's cellular market. The rest is largely held by the state-run Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, which is a small player in this retail market. The collapse of Vodafone Idea could have easily made things much worse. India's struggling banks would have been buried under a fresh storm of bad loans. More importantly, telecommunications in India would become a duopoly, or a situation wherein there are only two suppliers who dominate the market, which is not good, not just for the market economics, but also for the customers. In a country with over a billion subscribers, four operators are generally ideal. The government has, that is why, provided a relief package to maintain the industry structure. Of course, this also sends a positive signal to foreign investors that the government of India is welcome to provide any aid to ailing companies to make sure that the structure of the market is taken care of. India's telecommunication industry has been riding a storm since 2017, when Asia's richest man, Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Jio, entered the Indian market and launched a bruising price war by slashing tariffs and remaking a voice market into a data one. If you know about Ambani's Reliance, Reliance has always come into any markets with a big idea. So, even with the mobile communications market, Reliance has launched its Geo brand, wherein there was no there was no mobile bill provided to the subscribers until 1 year, and also along with the mobile subscription, you would be also getting an instrument for free. Now, if you look at the data packages of Reliance Geo, they were dirt cheap or given away free. that is where Reliance Jio has completely changed this telecommunication market here in India by changing a voice one into a data one. Now, if you specifically look at what happened with the other players with the launch of Reliance Jio, this put a massive pressure on the players who are already in the market. They had to match Reliance, and in the process, they ended up with too little profits or making losses. The unending price war and the overhang of dues owed by operators to the government, outstanding spectrum payments, and a certain proportion of revenues earned by telecommunication companies that are shared with the government shrunk profits. With profits going down due to lower prices and the high debt, of course, things went downhill. Now, if you look at what is the Indian government's role in the current situation that has been happening, the second and the most eminent reason, of course, apart from the Reliance Jio cutthroat competition and the pricing, is, of course, the adjustment or the battle over adjusted gross revenues. So, in layman's terms, this means that a certain proportion of revenues earned by the telecommunication companies need to be shared with the Indian government Department of Telecommunications. But there is a war going on between the telecommunication companies and the Indian government because they have not been able to agree on what is the right gross revenue. Telecommunication companies wants to pay the amount according to gross revenue that make on their telecommunication services, whereas government wants a much wider definition so they can make much more money from the telecommunication companies. They are including non-telecom revenues like sale of assets and interest earned on deposits under the gross revenue of the telecom companies so that they can make more money. But the telecommunication companies are not agreeing to this specific point. Recently, Supreme Court ruled in the favor of government, which means the telecommunication companies now have to pay around 900 billion rupees to the Indian government. And if you just look at Vodafone share, that is coming to around 390 billion rupees. Of course, in the light of this ruling, Vodafone CEO, that is the world CEO, Nick Reed, said, financially, there's been a heavy burden through unsupportive regulation, excessive taxes, and on top of that, we got this negative ruling. So that is why we are actually planning on exiting Indian government or planning on exiting the Indian market. But post 2 days after that, after the statement, Nick Reed came back and he apologized for the statement and he said that Vodafone will not be exiting the Indian market. Of course, in the light of these statements, the government of India offered the cash-strapped operators a 4-year moratorium. This 4-year moratorium is not just for Vodafone India, but also for other telecommunication operators, including Airtel and Jio, on the dues to help them save enough cash to pay back dues to the government. Of course, you can understand if the companies go bust, they will not be able to pay anything. So rather than that, the Indian government is giving them a 4-year moratorium so that they can make some money, save that money, and then pay it back to the Indian government. Now, what does the situation actually say about the Indian market? Not just to mobile operators specifically, but also to other companies which are looking at setting their shop here in India. The days specifically of dirt cheap data, especially in the telecom segment, are over. So definitely there would be a tariff rise, not just for Airtel and Vodafone India, but also Reliance Jio might be increasing tariffs in the near future. But of course, the country as such remains a very price sensitive market. So if a new player wants to enter into the Indian market with ambitions of a pan-India presence, they need to have deep pockets and ample shareholder support, because it will take many more years for them to make any profits in the Indian market. Prices will definitely be going up, but prices going up is not really a bad thing, because if you specifically look at the corona situation that has happened, the companies which have been profitable, which had made money during the other years, were only able to sustain during the corona time. So if companies don't make any money, they indulge themselves in these price wars. Then if the companies go bust, then it is definitely not a good signal, neither for the economy nor the people living in that specific country. So prices going up, companies making money is a good thing. And if the Vodafone company actually exits India, there will only be basically two big players, leading to a duopoly. Duopoly is where the market has only two big players, and generally in a huge market like India, having only two big players is not the right, does not bring the right market dynamics, because if something happens to one of those players, then it would lead to a monopoly situation, which is not ideal for any economy. If a company as big as Vodafone decides to exit, then of course it throws a negative light towards the Indian market. This is not just about the current Supreme Court decision. The fact that it has been a retrospective tax issue going on between the companies and the Indian government, this has been happening since the past decade. So probably Indian government needs to look at all of these factors and make it much more feasible for companies to create shop here in India. So when a big brand like Vodafone decides to shut shop and get out of the country, of course it is bound to make other investors think twice before entering the Indian market. So I hope you found this content interesting. What do you think about this situation of Vodafone India happening right here in the Indian market? Do you think the government needs to reach out and provide many more subsidies or incentives for any companies entering into the Indian market and staying here in the Indian market? Do you think whatever is happening with Vodafone is probably its karma, the things that it has done in the past? Do comment below, and I would love to read about those. I hope you found this content interesting. This is SIRISHA VARMA, Founder Chief Strategist at Branding by Pixels, a business strategy design and digital marketing company coming live to you from India. If you found this content interesting, please do subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Please do take care. I will see you again in my next video. In my next video, I'm creating a series regarding part-time business ideas that you could do, or work from home opportunities of genuine nature, not the ones that you find on Facebook groups, but the genuine ones. These would be a series of at least 10 episodes of ideas that you could use to create extra cash for yourself. So please do stay tuned to my channel for that upcoming series. I will see you again in my next video. Please do take care. Bye-bye.